Hello and welcome to another fabulous episode of the Steve and Dan Show. My name is Dan Holloway, joined by my co-host Steve. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. It's good to see you again. And we are joined today by our wonderful guest, Gin, who is below us on the screen. So for anyone who's watching for the first time and doesn't know anything about us at all, my name's Dan Holloway, come from a background in corporate software sales, which I left in September 2016 when I started my own online business. And essentially the wake up moment, if you want to call it that, wake up, was realizing that the path that I was going down was not bringing me fulfillment. And yet I was just stuck in this corporate rat race, working away to try and earn even more money. And I suddenly realized that any income goal in the past that I'd had, when I hit it, I never really got any more fulfillment or happiness. And therefore, why did I think that an even higher income goal in the future was going to bring me anything different? And so that's when I realized I had to change. That's when I started on this new journey that we've all been on for quite a while now. And since then, things are looking very, very different. Steve, would you like to give a little bit of an overview of yourself, my friend?
Be happy to. Thanks, Dan. Steve, husband, father, entrepreneur, started and grown several businesses over the years. Probably started my first real business when I was 14. So I've been at it a lot of years, a long time, and I love doing it. I love the freedom, the flexibility, but I realized that it felt more like my business owned me, like my clients would rule my schedule. And that was kind of my wake up, where I started looking for something different because I knew I wanted to work for myself, but kind of the traditional businesses that I'd done in the past really didn't give me the freedom that I was looking for. That's how I came across the SFM and this fantastic community. And Gin, do you want to tell us a little bit about you?
Yes, so I started SFM in 2016, September, and at that point, I was a real estate agent. I was passionate about Robert Kiyosaki's training, and I already had the mindset that I would like to achieve the freedom just so I don't need to work for money every day. I wanted to find the ways to make money work for me. And his training was to get real estate, let it out, and then have in that way passive income every month, and at some point you can retire, and of course earlier than usual retirement age. So that's what I was doing. So I thought if I'm a real estate agent, I will be in the niche and will learn everything about it, so it will be easy for me to invest and make those decisions. And I actually was quite successful in that and kind of almost achieved that freedom, I would say, like that. But what happened in the meantime, I was married at that point. I was working for 72 hours per week, which was Monday to Saturday, 8 to 8. I was working even overtime. I was really passionate about my job and dedicated employee. And what happened, me and my husband, we just went absolutely different directions. When I found SFM, I guess I found it in a way because I got bored in real estate. So it's kind of a slow process. It does work for you to create your own freedom, but it's not much growth for you. So once you learn it, it's just not too much to grow as a personality. It's a simple process. So I got bored with that, and I'm the person who constantly wants to learn, to improve my knowledge, to grow as a person. Self-development is extremely important for me. So more than money, I joined SFM because I was looking for teachers. I was looking to create my circle of influence and hang out with the people who are hungry for knowledge, who are hungry for growth. And so that was, I felt when I joined this community, I just felt this is the right place for me to be. And later on, everything happened in a way that I actually found my partner in this community too. And the whole life, I would say, so as I said, I joined in 2016, September. In 2017, September, I left my job. And then just a couple of months, maybe even 1 month later, me and Alex, my partner, got together. So SFM changed my life in all the areas of my life. So not only I became much stronger, more confident, before I was shy to express my opinion and maybe live the life in a way that I want. I would listen to my parents, I would listen to everyone surrounding me that I love, whereas SFM kind of encouraged me to be who I am, because everyone encourages you to be authentic and true, and find your true value, find your gift, and then share that with the world. And actually in that way you can be much better version for the people that you love. So that's what happened to me. So I became much stronger, I changed my work, I gained my freedom, and I found the person that I love and that we are going the same direction. So I feel blessed, and honestly this kind of education I would definitely want for my kids, for my children in the future when I have them.
Awesome, Gin. And you know what, let's talk about the whole being yourself thing, because I feel like a lot of people, not just when they join this community, but in life in general, there's a bit of a disconnect, or like people feel that they have to be certain ways, they have to please people, they have to do the stuff that society tells them to do or whatever, and they can't really sort of express themselves and just be okay with who they are as a person. So what do you reckon, Jim, for you, like what kind of inspired you or sparked you to make that change and realize that it was okay to be you and you could just, be authentically yourself and that was fine? What sort of started that process for you, do you reckon?
I think at the beginning it's just the support of people, because I remember I was maybe shooting a video in my car. I was attending 90-day video challenge in our community. I was shooting a video just after my work, and I was a little bit upset, and I said, like, I'm so tired and I don't know how to stay positive, because I already feel like I need to go, I need to leave this job. There is something more for me and I would like to do this full time. And the people supported me so much, and they didn't say, oh, quit your job or whatever, but they tried to be supportive and said, look at the bright side, look what the experience that you are in gives you so much now that you can use in your business in the future, and use that day as a motivation for you to grow. So I think that support, and even like when I first shoot my video, I was awful on camera, and everyone's support, everyone's advice and constructive feedback that helps you grow actually encouraged me to learn more and more. And once I grew my skills, then also the same community encouraged me to exercise, change my nutrition, which then I got my body at the best state that I've ever had, and I was so contented with my outside as well, and I don't know, with the whole life. And once you have what you want in those fields, you become more confident, and if you are confident, self-esteem grows, and then I think it's other people can less affect you because you know what you want. And I think, again, all the books, all the seminars that I attended, weekly webinars that we have with Justin Wolf, really, I think they inspire you to be a leader, and a leader is an authority, and a leader knows his or her way, and they will never give up until they achieve that. And those words that Justin Wolf said stayed with me so much that nothing could stop me. And I knew it doesn't matter how long it will take for me to grow to that level where I can quit my job, where I can actually have that freedom. But for me, the process, I just engaged the process. I knew that's what I'm going to be. And that's where I came. And I'm still growing every day, and my life hasn't finished. So I have bigger challenges now, and I'm very excited about that.
That's terrific. That's amazing. You've had such transformation in so many different parts of your life. It's really a great story. But I wonder how much different that is than what you might have first expected. Because I imagine when you first found the SFM, you didn't watch a video or read a sales page or something and go, oh, I'm going to transform my life by joining this community. I'm going to find my partner. Everything's going to completely change in my world.
No, I hadn't expected any of that.
nice side benefit, right?
Yeah.
So what was your mindset? What what do you think it was that you were looking for? You talked a lot about education, and then obviously there's a big difference between that and where you are today. So
Absolutely.
What was it that connected you with the SFM, and what were you looking for?
Well, the education I was looking for was because I wanted to create my financial freedom around me and my time freedom. So, that was related, and I was expecting to achieve it probably quicker than I did. But then within the journey, I just really, grew throughout those expectations. And they never were like, I never felt disappointed with my journey. So even if the time scale was longer than I expected at the beginning, I enjoyed every day, and I would never change my journey. That was, and at some point actually, so 3 months in while joining, I wasn't engaged with the community, and I was at the point where I was actually feeling, I truly believe this training really helps people, to create what they need. But I lost belief in myself, and I was thinking, if I haven't done anything for the last month, I was overwhelmed and I didn't ask for help. So that was actually my fault, And I felt maybe I should stop this. But then I reached out to Frank and Jill, our beautiful members of the community, and we had a conversation together. And everything I told them, they said, it's just a monkey on your shoulder. I was thinking that I'm not good enough. And they said, that's bullshit. Look at what you're giving to the community. Look, how much heart you put in, how much people love you, and just move on, it's not true what you are just saying. And I thought at that point I was almost crying, and I was thinking, that's true, like I don't want to give up, and I don't want to leave this community, and I just need to move on with my shit.
Yeah.
So then I continued with SFM, and the next month there was a momentum day where I actually saw Dan speaking on the stage, who inspired me so much, and all the other leaders. And since then, my journey just went like that. So I only think that I would advise for people who are just starting maybe is just never stay alone. Just always reach out to the community. And especially at the beginning, don't feel, like, oh, I don't have what to give now. Feel free to take a little bit, and then it will come, I would say, gradually, that you will want to give back to the community. It will be naturally.
Yeah, and surrounding yourself with people, again, is a theme that comes up a lot of the time in our conversations that me and Steve have with people. But it is so important, and it's the difference between, I think of it like push-pull, right? So if you're on your own, like completely alone, and you're trying to start a journey, and you have no support and nobody to help you, you're constantly trying to push, you're constantly trying to force yourself to do things that you don't know how to do, or overcome your own fears or bullshit, as you say, like your limiting beliefs. We're constantly trying to push ourselves. And then if you surround yourself with people who have already achieved the result that we want, and they know the path that you're walking down, and we're struggling, we're finding it difficult, because like learning any new skill or skills, it's challenging at times. But when people can pull you up and like bring you up to that level with them, it's amazing how quickly your growth can start to explode. And we see this all the time. And Gin, you're another example of somebody that's just taken the resources that's available, immersed themselves in the community of people who are there to support everyone, and then exploded their own growth to get the result themselves, and then give back to other people to help them as well. It's just like a constant process of giving back and giving back and giving back. And that's what I love about this so much, is that it's not competitive. It's not, oh, I'm going to see what I can take for myself and hide from everyone else. It's like, let's give to as many people as possible and make the world a better place. So would you say that your, let's take, for example, your views on how your life was going to pan out before, and the way that you saw things, the way you saw giving back, like, has that all changed on this journey? Or do you feel that you were always that tapped into, helping others and so on and so forth?
I was always helping others, but I was probably looking at the very narrow view, whereas now my horizons really expanded. So I was teaching privately students, and I was passionate about that. I was passionate about, finding a way that would be best for them to learn, but that was one-on-one basis. Whereas now I'm doing webinars and I'm teaching many more people and inspire them and help them move forwards. So I think, and I know I'm going even further down. So maybe we will even organize events and so on. So I do want, and because I'm marketing now online, I also reach out many more people. So you are basically empowered to change the world so much more than only changing the world one-to-one base on one.
And when you started, did you ever think for a second that you'd be doing any of this stuff, webinars, like meetings, marketing?
Oh, not. I was scared to get on the video. I was scared to record my first video. So I wasn't technical. Would I even think that I would create my own website? No. Now I'm teaching other people how to create websites. So that's really like the skills. So I didn't even mention, not only my life changed all around, but the skills that I gained. And actually you kind of take it for granted after a year, you know, kind of feels like, oh, I just know that. But because of them, I never knew how to create a website. I just knew how to Facebook message someone. You know? And I never knew how to record a video, how to edit videos. Now I'm editing videos, and you know, I want to share all that knowledge with other people, and that's all because of this community culture, how other leaders inspire. And you know, the recent topic for me was like, can you create business on your own? And no, you can't. And that's why that first 3 months I was so discouraged and on my own, and I thought I can't do it because I thought I should do it on my own. But there are hundreds of other leaders in our community who every one of them is so special. And and they are willing to help you. That's the thing. It's like I was feeling like, oh, maybe I will burden them. But then you see and then it becomes your life anyway. So I see now myself, I never feel it's a burden for me to help someone. So I'm not scared to reach out for help now too. Yes.
That's great. You had talked a little bit about Robert Kiyosaki, and he's kind of special for me because he was one of the first people that I started studying and that I actually met in person. This was years ago.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah. There you go. Something you didn't know about me. I got a chance to hang out with him for a little bit. Anyway, people that have influenced you, obviously Robert Kiyosaki, people in this community, but are there other people outside of this community that that you've studied or read or, you know, been to seminars with, books that you've read? What about outside information that's helped you along in this journey? Are there any recommendations that you have? Any favorites?
Definitely, loads of them. So Robert Kiyosaki definitely was the first one for me to start my path towards growth and independence. And then I really like Mel Robbins and her 5-second rule. That helped me to stop procrastinating, and I would definitely recommend that for everyone who wants to take action and finally change their lives. And then definitely huge impact, Gary Vaynerchuk, in regards to your social media marketing and true values and how to create your own brand in a way that it's long lasting and keep it to your values, just so you are truly authentic in that. You do what you love, because in your business, you need to give all of you. And if you don't love your business, you will crash and you will not be successful. So everyone would be, but that's why it's important to choose a business that you love and that gives you the feeling of fulfillment. So I would say he really made a huge influence on me too. But in general, definitely one more book that actually made my ability to communicate with people differently was by Dale Carnegie, How to Make Friends and Influence People. This is the book that definitely made huge influence on me, and I started approaching people in absolute different way, and then I had so many more fulfilling conversations and so much more value. So I would say
awesome.
Dale Carnegie, that's a classic.
Yeah.
And definitely every day for me is Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks. The book that I loved most was The Astonishing Power of Emotion. It really helps me at the times where, just to raise your awareness and be mindful of your thoughts. And we are human beings. We always have better days and sometimes not that great days. But at the moment when I have those days where my mind is a little bit lower, I have that awareness, and that's not the end of the world. I know it will pass. And I just know how to shift my state as well, because that's what I learned in this community. So
what would you say, Gin, is your biggest challenge that you've overcome on your journey? Biggest that you faced and biggest you've overcome?
My biggest challenge was finding my own gift and believing that I actually have that gift. So that was actually my partner, Alex, who wasn't my partner at that time, who actually during one of the meetups that we have every month in London, he just told me to tell him the truth, what's going on, what's stopping me. And we dug deep into it. And I was feeling like I was feeling guilty to think good about myself. And I was feeling guilty to admit that I have any gifts. And I thought that I don't. And in reality, when I got to know that I have that gift, I realized there is proof for that. Then everything changed for me. Then I started changing other people's lives, and everything just rolled, everything changed then. So yes, that was my biggest challenge. I was feeling like I'm not good enough, and I was bullying myself. I was really strict to myself and behaving like I wouldn't communicate with anyone else who behaved with me like that.
Yeah, that's I always say, be a good friend to yourself. And if we had friends that talk to us the way we sometimes talk to ourselves, I think we would not be friends with those people. Yet for some reason we think it's okay to talk to ourselves that way, so that's really key.
Yeah, and that was the biggest challenge, for me, because I was really bad to myself. Not that I didn't love, but
yeah. Sorry, when you first came in, what did you think your biggest challenge was going to be?
I thought to learn. Let me think about it. I was thinking to learn everything. I don't know. I didn't know if I will have enough time. I didn't know if I was good enough with my technical skills. But I was just so passionate about it. I just really wanted to get my freedom. And I guess for me it was as well, I just wanted to help my parents who were living really a hard life, and they were dedicated to me. They gave everything to me just so I can grow, and they could help me to live my best life. So I felt like I had to give them back, and I really wanted to help them gain that independence, and so they didn't need to be in those jobs that they are now. And I actually, so now I have that happiness, that satisfaction that I am able to help them, and that's the biggest fulfillment for me.
That's great.
It's so interesting, Jin. Sorry, Steve. Do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Thanks, mate. It's very kind. I said it's so interesting to hear from different people who join, and myself included. Like we think that the biggest challenge is going to be the technical skills, and I get it all the time. Like so many people email me and message me saying, I don't know if I have what it takes, or can you tell me, do I need to know how to learn websites, or I'm going to learn this or learn that. It's all about the technical, tactical stuff. But that is such a small part of the journey. And we think that that's the biggest thing that's going to hold us back, how to learn this skill. Nah, the biggest thing that's going to hold you back is the bullshit that you have through your mind that's going to stop you taking the steps that you need to do. Stuff like not overcoming fear, stuff like not getting uncomfortable, stuff like believing that you're not good enough and you're not worthy. That's the stuff that we're going to overcome that's going to make a difference. Not learning how to set up a campaign on Bing or something like that.
Definitely. And that's like true entrepreneurship, finding the ways as well, how to learn those things. So I think like the biggest, so if you're scared about the technical skills, it's actually just, being creative and finding that information. And, education gives that. But the true hurdles are the beliefs and, all the things that you will need to overcome. So it's your belief in yourself and knowing what you truly want, knowing why you're doing this, I guess.
Definitely. That's actually the exact question I was going to ask. Perfect. So obviously you've gone through a lot of different shifts, mindset changes over the time, and belief in yourself is a big one for everybody, believing that they can do this or believing that they're worthy, all of those sorts of things. If you were to meet somebody who has just seen their first video, just barely connected with the community, what one piece of advice do you think you would give them, or what one piece of advice would you have liked to have heard when you first came into the community? What do you think would make a difference for somebody who's brand new?
Yes, for someone who's brand new, I would definitely advise just engage with the community. Just go out there. Just really don't be scared, because everyone in this community is not judgmental. Everyone will support you, and you will see the power of years and years. Because imagine, I joined my years of experience, Dan's years of experience, Steve's years of experience together, and I help you how much quicker you can get where you want to be. But this is the only thing. People are shy. People feel like they can't reach out to other people. So I would say this, and also stay open-minded. Don't be scared to do mistakes, because at school we were punished for making mistakes. And I think that mindset really stops to be real entrepreneur, because in reality, you're only growing while making mistakes. So do those mistakes, take action, never be in one place, just take step by step, even little step every day, but be consistent, and you will get where you want to be,
Spot on. Very wise words. I had a feeling there was going to be some wise words coming from you, Gin. So let's say final bit of advice. Here's a thought. So take live events. You mentioned live events a couple of times, right? People join the community. Let's say they start networking, they start masterminding with people and so on and so forth. And let's say they have a fear of coming to a live SFM event and putting themselves out there and so on and so forth, which I'm guessing you might be able to relate to as well.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's like feeling the fear of putting themselves out there in that situation or any similar situation to enable them to overcome it and just take action? What would be your advice for someone in that space?
I would say just do it. I remember my first event. I was shaking and I was scared. I didn't know anyone there. I have never met anyone. And I came there being shy, and everyone was so friendly. Everyone was smiling. I met my lifelong friends now, and I met my accountability partners. I met people who actually pushed me when I was at my worst stage. So those events actually gave me the biggest kick. And every time I attended the event, I'm always having a breakthrough there. So that gives you that, I don't know, that gives you so much value that you can't even cost that in money. It really gives you a boost and that belief in yourself. So definitely, I would say just go there. And there are people, like we have wonderful people in the community, and there are people who are coming and just being really shy and really uncomfortable. And there are people who notices that, and they will come to you. They will help you to, connect to the right person. So you are never alone in this community. And personally, if you see, I will attend every event possible. So if you see me there, just come across, and I will always, share my love with you, and I will remember how I was that first day, and yes, just we'll hold your hand that day.
Around the room and have them make 100 friends.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you first got started, you were in real estate. You were working ungodly hours, and I know a lot of people struggle with the time. I'm not going to have time. I don't know if I'm going to have time. How can I fit this in? So what did you do? How did you fit it in?
Yes.
What changes did you make to be able to have the time to do it?
Yes. Well, I was really, really persistent with what I want, and I made it my priority. And I know not every person wants to make those sacrifices. So I did lose quite a bit of social life, but I knew that's temporary. And I knew that's only, until I actually am able then to have the freedom forever. I would advise, maybe I went to a bit, corners, how to say. I think
Extremes.
Yes, I went to really big extremes. So I wouldn't advise to forget your family like I did. But I guess, you need to understand, if this is it's your business. So none of the businesses will come without effort. And if you can't find at least a couple of hours per day, it's a lie that you're telling. It means this is not important for you. And then just forget that business. I would say, like, it means maybe what you think you want is actually not what you want. Maybe you can then live with less. But is that truly, real? Or is it the lie that you don't have time? Because I was working 72 hours per week, but I did find energy, and I couldn't even go to sleep because I wanted to learn more. I was so motivated that I couldn't not do that. I was doing it every day wherever I go. So I think it's just, knowing why you're doing that and if that's truly for you. But that's the beginning stage where you make the decision and then you commit.
One quick follow-up, Dan. You made the point of maybe people shouldn't go to the extremes and forget their family the way you did. But how much more time do you have for your family now?
Yes.
Isn't it worth it? Is that trade-off for a short period of time worth it to gain that much larger piece of time a little later on?
Absolutely. And maybe one advice that I would give, if you do have family, maybe it would be worth doing this together, because in that case you would be growing together, because it's really, tricky. One person is growing at the speed of light, like really, really quickly. And another person is just staying where they are, maybe growing a little bit in their job, wherever they are. But, the first year you will have big growth, and then next year after you will have less and less. So the difference that happens if you don't spend time with your family, and in a couple of months, you will already be like that. In half a year, you will be like that. In a year, you will be far away. So your family will be gone. So I would advise, if you do commit to go through this path and growth and changing your life, try to tell your partner what is it about. Try to take them to the event and maybe help them as well. You can, connect your powers and do that together. And in that case, you will have double time. And it will be fun doing the same things together, learning, masterminding together, having that support. It's really important. So I would say that would be another solution.
Yeah, definitely. And the times, I want to touch on the time thing for a second, because again, it's another thing we hear a lot, and so many people come in, it's like, I don't think I have the time at the moment to build this business. And I think that's such a paradox, because it's like, well, if you don't have the time because you're too busy on your career, you don't have the time to create time freedom. Well, surely that's why you need to create time freedom, because if you didn't need the time, that will be because you already have. It's like completely backwards. It doesn't even make sense. So yeah, it's a case of priority, because the way I see it is, if somebody said, hey, if you find 2 hours a night, that's 14 hours a week, right? And for 2 hours a night for a year, if you commit that time for 2 hours a night for a year at 14 hours a week, you will get $10 million, right? Every single person pretty much on the planet, apart from billionaires, they don't need that, but almost everyone would be absolutely dedicated to find those 2 hours per night, every night for a year, to get 10 million, because, well, that's suddenly a higher priority than most other things, because they realize with 10 million, they might never have to work again. For example, it's not the money, it's what the money allows you to do. So it's just a case of priority. If you're saying you don't have the time, it means you're not willing to replace what you're already doing with this because it's not important enough. We can all find the time. Every person on the planet can find the time if it's important enough. So
I absolutely agree with you, Dan. I think time is just like you will always have. Everyone has the same time. It's just what you choose. And yes, sorry, I forgot what.
No, 100%. So any closing thoughts, June? Let's say somebody's in a space, they do want to make a change, right? They know they're unfulfilled. They know that the path they're going down is not going to give them what they want, but they just don't know how to go down a new path or how to change. And let's say that they're feeling skeptical, which is something that a lot of people feel when they're starting out. What closing advice would you give to someone, Jin, who's feeling skeptical? They're not sure. They don't know if they can do it. They've got all these fears and doubts and so on and so forth, and it's stopping them taking that first step. What would you say to them?
I would say you always have to be skeptical, because there are so many scams, so many get-rich-quick schemes on the internet, and you should be skeptical. But what I would advise is, take the first step and try it, and then if that makes sense to you, take the second step, and bit by bit, see. Whenever it doesn't make sense for you, then maybe try to speak to someone and see if that's really not for you, not matching your values. Then you go your way. If that's matching your values and you feel like it truly, you feel like it's the right path for you in your life to change your life and get what you want in your life, to achieve your dreams, then just keep going forwards. It's just trust your heart. I would say always trust your heart,
Perfect.
That is a great place to end it, I think. Unless you have something else you want to cover, Dan, trust your heart. What a great message.
I think we should leave it on trust your heart. I think that's a perfect message. Thank you, Jin.
Thank you guys
awesome.
for having me here.
No, of course, you're more than welcome. It's been lovely. And on behalf of everybody watching, I think thank you so much, because that was really, really, really powerful. Steve, as always, thank you, buddy. To everyone watching, thanks very much. We will see you on the next show, and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Take care. Thanks again, Jen.
Thank you.